Hello, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
And this is Sprues and Brews News.
Okay, so on this week's first inaugural video, isn't it?
Yeah, our first video covering the releases of April.
Well, we're looking mainly at Games Workshop products in this particular video. Well, that's not to say that in future videos we're going to cover, stuff from like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
Like
if you guys have got any hobby you're into and want us to have a look at something else, we'll happily give you some news on what's happening in the hobby world.
At the moment, it's actually a great time to jump on the Games Workshop bandwagon because there's a lot of changes going on in the Warhammer universes.
Yeah, even in the past, 12 months, Games Workshop have been pulling out all the stops with Age of Sigmar going from strength to strength, really, and the imminent arrival of 40k.
The good news for us hobbyists is that there are lots of new releases and the quality of these new releases are ever increasing. So shall we jump to it and have a few words to say about what's coming up or what's recently been released?
Yeah, so if we jump into, say, the Age of Sigmar releases for the month.
I think that's a good place to start, Matt.
Cool. So, the first Age of Sigmar release this month was the Blades of Khorne.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a massive re-release, like something we might be talking about in a few moments.
No, so the Tzeentch release was huge, wide range of new kits, new Lord of Change, which is awesome. The Khorne release didn't have any new miniatures at all, but it did update the demons and the mortals into a new battle tome, much in the style of the really recent books, which have been fantastic. I don't know if you're a Stormcast fan.
Yeah, I'm a Stormcast fan, so when Age of Sigmar first, came out, I know there was a lot of criticism and they seemed to take some of the additional flavour away, like the personalisation. So like the first books were just basically the War Scrolls thrown into books. There was some good fluff there, but not enough characterisation of the armies. It wasn't until the General's Handbook came out where suddenly you had points and you could start to make your armies and such, which some of the later battle tombs, as you mentioned, like this new Khorne one, that is allowing you to give you that freedom.
Yeah, and there's lots of different lists for your magic items and weapons, which wasn't present in the old, say the Seraphon book, one of the earliest ones. Literally, a couple of formations, all the army entries, and that's it, apart from the fluff, where these have got new spell decks, new abilities for your generals, and then similar to the Decurions in the 40k world, we've got formations of formations, which you can probably not fit in points-wise into a match play game, but for narrative you can have an awesome themed army with abilities themed around that. Yeah.
To really, it's totally up to you how you want to build your army, which is a big deal we want to go for at the moment. But if you want to stick to a particular theme, it's going to reward you for that.
Yeah, so I'm a huge demon player. I've got a massive demon army and really looking forward to getting this book for a pure Khorne demon force. Bloodthirster and Bloodletter, Wrecking Face on the battlefield. Yeah, that's where it's at.
I don't know about that. Maybe more running off to the Blood God for like hugs and cuddles.
Something like that.
There you go. So what did they release? It wasn't really a miniature.
No, so we had the book. We also had a deck of stat cards, essentially, which I think we saw first with the Stormcast release.
Yes, they also came with like the push-out cards. We've actually got some here, haven't we?
Yes, if we give you a quick glance at these. So, deck of cards, they've got the individual profiles for each unit on them. So you can place them on the battlefield, have all your stats to hand, which I find a bit easier than flicking through the book, trying to find the right page. Yep, you've got the app which has got all your stats on, but quite like the concept of just having a card behind your unit. You've got all your references to look up.
The app is great, and the app ultimately is for the most part free, which is great, which means you can get on it and play. But like Matt said, you know, once you've built your force, you can choose which scrolls you're going to need, and just having them there to hand is going to speed up your game. You know, you can have your cards all in front of you on the edge of the battlefield, and then for that particular unit you can go, right, there they are. Do these come with the packs?
Yeah, so with the War Scroll cards you get a couple of sheets of templates. So with all your buffs and debuffs and any, you know, special abilities for the army, and they're really nicely printed as well. There's a little bit of bookkeeping sometimes in Age of Sigmar, seeing, you know, who's got Mystic Shield on, whose special abilities kicked in that turn. So just a good way of tracking that without, you know, reams of paperwork across the battlefield.
Yeah, especially on bigger games.
Yeah.
And like, was that cast on him? What's so special about that guy this turn? And so on and so forth. So they're good points of reference.
Yeah.
It all helps to speed up the gameplay.
Yeah, I think they've been really handy to have, and looking forward to getting some games in with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Also this month, we've seen the release of the Kharadron Overlords.
Now, seriously, these are some of the coolest, not just Warhammer miniatures, but miniatures in general I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think some 40k players have been jealous of these models as well. There's some awesome stuff. I mean, pirate dwarfs in flying boats. What more do you need?
Exactly. Fully decked out in armour. This is truly something pulled from steampunk fantasy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The core of the force is based around, obviously, the big ships, the big airships, which Games Workshop have been rumoured to be working on with dwarfs for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But I never thought they'd pull such a thing off.
No, it's so unique in Age of Sigmar. I think one of the criticisms of the game early on is that a lot of the old factions didn't quite gel with the new look of the game. But they managed to keep some of the old dwarf aesthetic, all the old runes. There's nods to gyrocopters and, you know, stuff like that in them, and they're just pure Warhammer now, aren't they?
Yeah, the gyrocopters really wouldn't look out of line.
No, I think they'd happily fly alongside, and I'm sure you could use those old war scrolls alongside a Kharadron force as well.
Yeah, so the release is obviously staggered across the month. So I believe we've got a couple of examples of what's currently available.
Yeah, so we've got the book, which is brilliant book, and I'm sure we might have another video at some point going into some more details on it. But
maybe once we've got some hold of some of the built miniatures to actually, but, you know, I'm personally not going to be building the force yet.
Well, I'm very tempted, but demons to work on, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like about the book, where I jump in now, we've got some hobby stuff going on. So painting guides, building guides, hints and tips for building up your army. So I think that's been really nice to see.
Like we mentioned in the Khorne book, the books are much more. Like, I mean, saying that, it wasn't like the old original Age of Sigmar War Scroll books were that bad.
No.
Because they were, compared to like the price of codexes and tombs before, they were relatively cheaper.
Yeah.
But then I suppose you have to consider that you could just download the War Scrolls for free anyway.
Yeah.
But no, it's nice to see they are incorporating more of these painting techniques.
Yeah, I think the Games Workshop team has been listening to the community, seeing what's working, what hasn't worked, and refined the battle tomes as they've come out. There's a massive difference between these books and the earlier ones for content and just cool stuff, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah. So what else have we got? Have we got anything else?
We've got the pre-order cards that were released. If you pre-ordered the book, you got a set of cards with different codes. So the Kharadron Overlords, they have strict codes in place, but the different interpretations of those rules in their society. So they might defend their territory valiantly, or you know, push out in certain ways and use these cards to build, like the chapter tactics of the old kind of 40k books, where you can tailor your force with different benefits and downsides, which I think is a nice little touch to have.
Yeah, or just make your own fleet.
Yeah.
All the rules are there to do what you please, go your own way, or go the way of a previously discussed port or city or whatever.
Yeah, and while there might be some optimum builds out on the internet, I think it'll be cool that we'll see some different factions and different flavours of Kharadron armies with these.
Yeah. So I mean, that pretty much covers the Age 2. So we'll probably go and do a video purely on the Overlords once we've got hold of some of the miniatures built, because I mean we've seen some of the built stuff and it's really nice.
Really cool. I just want to get some of the boats to paint them up because they're ace.
Yeah. If you're listening to the Games Workshop, it wouldn't go amiss to have maybe one or two of the characters added to Warhammer Quest.
Oh yeah, definitely. I hope we see them added to the game. They may be soon.
Yeah,
Who knows?
they may be. Fingers crossed.
So the other big release that we've seen this month has been Shadow War Armageddon.
This has been a much welcome addition to the hobby.
Definitely.
I think.
One of my favourite games is Necromunda, and it's heavily based on Necromunda, which itself was based on 2nd edition 40k. So small scale game. You've got a dozen models max, fighting in dense city terrain. Really, really cool stuff.
This is exactly what I hoped Kill Team was going to be like, when they re-looked at doing Kill Team and they did that Tau. Was it Tau and Space Marines?
Tau and Space Marines, a small rule book with rules for putting together essentially one squad.
Yeah.
40k models.
Yeah.
In like narrative style games.
But there was something about it that didn't click. It didn't feel enough of a separate entity.
Yeah, it was more of a
really
watered down 40k than something in its own right, where Armageddon with the Necromunda rules, it's a different rule set entirely. So there's modifiers for shooting, there's a movement profile back, but might be something we see in the future in 40k.
Yeah.
And just, I suppose, much more detail than you'd get in a normal game of 40k, so people can fall down gantries, throw grenades at each other, a bit of a progression system as well. So you can pick, I believe, a character each game to gain some skills. It hasn't quite got the experience system from Necromunda.
No.
But that's something you could easily port in or house rule yourself. And I think this kind of game, it's begging for house rule and doing your own thing. Making your own little campaign with a group of friends.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, it's so easy to sort of draw your own narrative and bring your own, personalise your miniature collection.
Yeah.
Again, like you mentioned, because you're looking at sort of one little squad. It's easy to sort of equip them as you want and that you've paid points for, and giving them some individual character.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, like you say, creating your own storyline and taking it from there, really getting attached to your miniatures.
Yeah, it begs for conversing up your own unique guys, because they've built up their own history over the course of the game. So, haven't had a game of it yet, played Necromunda back in the day, really looking forward to playing, and I'm sure we'll be covering a bit of a Shadow War campaign in the future.
We shall indeed. And I believe we might be doing some unboxings and stuff in the future.
Yeah, with the release of Shadow War as well, Games Workshop have also released a range of scenery, which dual purpose for your small scale games and full on 40k.
It's some of the best looking scenery I think we've seen from Games Workshop and Warhammer, particularly 40k. Very heavily detailed, like I think you mentioned modular.
Yeah, so all the kits have all got studs essentially that can be fit together in multiple ways. So you can go to, if you've seen the White Dwarf, they put together a massive oil rig made from multiple different kits, and it's scalable down to, you can just have your platform there or tie them all together. You can take them apart and put them together in different ways. You don't have to glue them. Some of the combinations you might be a little bit better if maybe you've got a few.
Could you imagine
groups.
that oil rig, but with no glue? The
Yeah,
one
that's
that
not
was
last.
featured in White Dwarf in the battle report. I'd hate to be that guy that comes to move a Space Marine Scout and knocks the whole thing over.
You would be that guy.
I
Dave.
would be that guy. So yeah, in some cases, I mean, I've started building the scenery of mine, and I was blown away by the detail involved and just how easy it is to build up all these different levels and such.
They seem to have expanded on the scenery as well since the stuff came out in the box set. There's been the same couple of sprues in a few different combinations that you can buy either as a standalone kit or to add to your existing stuff. And then really awesome kit up for pre-order this weekend is the crane and servo harness, something like that.
Yeah, it's something that I would never originally thought of them doing. But they've not just built a crane that you could put on top of it. They've really gone to some great lengths. For example, one of the best kits of the last few months has been the Promethean pipes.
Yeah.
And also the munition containers. And all these have all been thought about with this design of new kits.
Yeah, all the pipes and the connection points are all at the same height and level, so you can pretty much link all those recent kits together in whatever combination. The scale's a little bit out from the old City Ruins kits, and I think that's just been due to we've got a slight creep in skies where things are using bigger bases now. We've got more dramatic looking miniatures, so it makes sense just to increase the scale in all dimensions a little bit.
Yeah, but that's not to say that they don't work together on the tiles that GW have already released.
Yeah.
So it's going to make some incredible centerpieces. I think Armies on Parade this year, we could see some potentially.
That should be an interesting one. We've also got some bases up for pre-order as well from Games Workshop, which match the walkways and the gantries. So I think we'll see some incredible Armies on Parade using all these different parts of the train kit. Oh, yeah. One awesome thing on the crane comes with a little fire extinguisher and a toolbox.
That's awesome.
That's
isn't it?
Really cool.
I can imagine like a Space Marine in a massive suit just pausing, just like he's got chaos like surging all around him. There's a fire going on. You got to be careful.
You've got to be, it might be the grim darkness of the far future, but if there's a fire, you need to make sure you can put it out.
Exactly. All these Promethean pipelines everywhere, Safety first.
Definitely safety first.
Safety first.
So, the big news that we've got coming in the near future, that Games Workshop have been really excellent at teasing over the last couple of weeks, is the release of the new edition of Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you've already picked up and started playing Shadow Wars, you've kind of already had a little bit of a teaser of what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, I think Shadow Wars is based on 2nd edition, where the new edition looks to be a combination of things that we've seen in Age of Sigmar, things that we've seen in Shadow War, so armour modifiers, movement values.
Rend played more an important feature.
Taking all the awesome parts of every edition of 40k, put it in a mixing pot, and getting something that looks like, from what we've seen, should be an amazing edition of the game.
Apparently, I think you maybe already mentioned that they've pulled in a lot of different community podcasters and things, so that we're not just talking play testers from the head office, we're also talking us, you guys are watching us, gamers, people who are playing every weekend, bringing them into it, what did you like about the previous edition? Yeah. What didn't you like about the previous edition?
Which is great, because for a games designer, if they're writing the rules, things might come up that they never intended, so some things have been abused slightly, and things might have got a bit more cumbersome as different layer of rules come on. So by getting the involvement of the people who are actually playing the game, seeing, you've got tournament people, narrative gamers, a wide range to make sure it appeals to everyone, which I think is a really, really cool thing.
Because nobody likes overpowered armies, you know, Eldar, or anything like that. You know, we want to see balanced games.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the first edition where Eldar are fun to play against.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly. This is coming from 2 non-Eldar players.
Yeah, we've been majorly abused by Eldar in the past, so apologies to any Eldar fans out there.
We don't go home and cry about our losses. God, this is horrible to play against. But no, I mean, by the time this video goes out, there's probably going to be more teasers towards the daily, aren't they?
Yeah, each day covering a different facet of the new game. So movement phase, shooting, psychic powers, gradually revealing, which I think's been really fun.
Yeah.
Rather than keeping it quiet and then week before saying, you got a new 40k.
Not going too much into detail, but detail enough so you were starting to build a picture now.
Yeah.
Of how the games are going to play, because I think they said one of the big focuses is trying to speed the gameplay up a little bit.
Yeah, they said on the little Q&A session that they put out about the new edition that an average game should take about 90 minutes, which is great. You know, it'll take hours for us to play a game of 40k as it is currently.
Sometimes, you know, we are victims of our own sort of, lengthening the game out.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be moments during the game which requires 15 minutes of laughter.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of rules discussion.
And again, we play for fun, but you'll occasionally get a rules dispute where, you know, dice it off. That's the way on rules disputes.
Yeah, but I'm really liking the not simple. No, they're not. They definitely haven't simplified it.
No.
To the point where, because I think a lot of people were worried that it was going to. Because if there's one thing about Age of Sigmar, they have simplified it a lot compared to Fantasy.
Yeah, it is very much a different beast than 8th edition Fantasy was. But it's a very good game, but I think a lot of people were a little scared that 40k wouldn't be recognisable. And the stat profile, there's still a strength and toughness value, there's still an opposed roll there. All the factions are remaining, no one's getting taken out the back and shot. So, you'll still be able to use your current force.
Good, because I'd hate to say goodbye to my Death Watch.
Yeah.
I love my Death Watch force. In fact, if it opens the doors for me to bring in some Centurions, something like that, I am all for it.
That would be cool. Well, there's talk of there'll be the main rulebook, and then there'll be, similar to the Grand Alliance books for Age of Sigmar, a book containing just the rules for each faction, and then they'll later expand on these with codex releases. And they've said that they're going to use the battle tomes as a blueprint for what the new codexes are going to be, and I think that's exciting.
It's very exciting. It's so exciting. No dates or anything like that yet.
No, just this year at some point, but I imagine it won't be too far off.
No, not the rate they're sort of teasing this.
Yeah, I think they might run out of stuff if it's coming out in December.
Yeah, it's a long time to be teasing stuff like this. But no, it certainly looks like. I mean, did you read all of the Gathering Storm books?
Yeah, I've read through the Gathering Storm and the advancement of the plot line. The big Bobby G is back in business.
Bobby G.
But it looks like since then things have happened as well. So one of the earliest teasers was a galactic map, and the entire galaxy has now been torn asunder by a demonic rift.
Yeah.
The poor Blood Angel seem to be on the far side of that rift now.
They seem to be the furthest outward Imperial force, aren't they?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any, fluff ramifications of them being miles away from Terra on the wrong side of a demonic rift. Which is generally a bad place to be, isn't
they're
it?
Blood Angels, though.
Yeah,
they'll enjoy themselves. Yeah.
The Tau Empire seems to be a bit stuck by itself on the edge of space as well, and demonic rifts around there. So traditionally, the Tau have always been immune to the warp. They might see what happens when the demons start getting real.
We shall see. Well, they always said, didn't they, that Farsight carried a chaos weapon?
Well, yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of plot threads that have been dropped over the last few army books they've released, so it'll be good to see if any of them get picked up. I'd like to see the Machine God, or whatever slumbers beneath Mars.
And the return of more characters of old. I mean, like you mentioned, Bobby G's back.
The Magnus the Red has come back, very, very angry.
So we could likely see the return of some other familiar faces from the past.
Yeah.
Who knows? But based on such models like the new Overlords, I think we're in for a treat when it comes to just detailed miniatures.
Yeah, and there's been talk of new factions as well. So no details yet, but like with Age of Sigmar throwing out these amazing releases out of nowhere, I think we could be in for some surprises as well.
All very exciting stuff, and all very close on the horizon, hopefully.
Yeah, and we'll be covering all this as and when we get news, and no doubt we'll have a bit of a campaign for 40k as well.
For any that might be new to the tabletop game, I think it might be fair to just quickly comment on the recent release of Dawn of War 3 as well.
Yeah, so Dawn of War PC game, years back, probably about 10 years now, the original came out. Real-time strategy in the 40k universe.
The original one was very much focused on the old Command & Conquer games of old, and then over time they've evolved into more smaller combat squad scales.
Yeah, so the second game was quite character-based, wasn't it?
Yeah. Whereas this third iteration of the computer title is kind of like bridge the gap between the two. There are some base building, but primarily it's sort of very squad based.
Yeah.
Action RTS, not RTS. Real time strategy.
Yeah,
RTS. Getting my abbreviations mixed up there. Yeah, it's a digital game, but it could be just to get you into the
exactly, yeah. And it's a nice, with the new edition coming out as well, it's a nice stepping on point to start the hobby, even if you're just painting up some miniatures, because from that cool game.
Yeah. So check it out if you've got 5. I'm sure we'll have the full length Dawn War trailer on the website for you to view. It may even act as inspiration for your own army.
Yeah, we've seen a few people take the fact. Was it the Blood Ravens, Blood Terrors? Can't remember now. But when we last went to Warhammer World, I think it was one of the White Dwarf team possibly had painted up a faction in that. Yeah, it looked really good.
Complete chapter. So.
And if you've got any Dawn of War themed models that you want to show us, well, put them up on a video. Yeah.
Well, certainly not just Dawn of War. We're a new site. We're open to feedback, and we'd love to see your miniatures. And I'm sure some of the ones you send in to us, we'd love to pop up online.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, feel free to share your creations, your painting, your games. We'd love to see them in future videos and articles.
Yeah, so we'll be back this time next month for the news from May. But until that, enjoy your hobby. This has been Sprues.
I'm Brews.
And Brews.
And Brews.